What's up, guys? Razio here. Finished playing the Final Fantasy VII demo a few times, and I have some concerns. I'm concerned that once this game releases, I'm gonna play it so much that I might lose my job, I won't get any sleep, and it'll all be worth it. This is my Final Fantasy VII demo review.
I am Razio.
Alright, guys, I know that was a little trolly, but man, I've just finished playing for like the third time through now the entire Final Fantasy VII Remake demo, and this thing is great. So I'm going to make this quick as I can to get through it, because I know this is just my opinion on the piece, but coming from somebody who played Final Fantasy VII religiously, the original Final Fantasy VII, in fact, it's one of the main reasons I even bought an original PlayStation back in '96, was Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy Tactics. In fact, I have it right here, my original PlayStation that I had bought in 1996. Yeah, right when they came out. And as you can see, I tried to take it apart back then because it had broken, and I was fixing it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Now to me, it's just a nostalgic novelty item. But yeah, original PlayStation right there. Anyway, the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo that was recently out. If you haven't played it yet and you have a PlayStation, I highly recommend PlayStation 4 that you download it and give it a try. So I'm going to go over a few quick things and talk about why I think this game is going to be absolutely amazing. So first thing I'm going to touch on are the graphics. Obviously, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here. It's apparent to the naked eye. Anyone can see it. The graphics are amazing. The artwork is great. They've really captured the still images, which were the backgrounds and the maps in Final Fantasy VII, and brought them to life in a whole new way. And it was mind-boggling. I mean, and you can see that they kept the same layout that they did in the original game. They just, the camera's different now. You're behind Cloud instead of above him, and things like that. So the graphic fidelity of this game is superb. Absolutely superb, which I'm not surprised about at all. We are on the newest generation of console, which again will change this holiday season with PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, which I may have to. That may be a reason I get a PlayStation 5 at all, which I wasn't intending on doing. Even though I know the next versions will be available, the next iterations of 7 Remake will be available on PlayStation 4. I might want to experience it on PlayStation 5 if it's better. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, the next topic, the music, the sound. They did such a good job. I mean, you expect in a game that's like labeled a remake that, the easy route there would just be to take the original soundtrack, make it higher quality, so it doesn't sound like it's playing on an old chip, like the sound chip in the original PlayStation here. But no, they took the original, they reorchestrated it, they redid everything on the music, but it didn't lose its feel. If anything, it's made the original music and taken it and gone even better, not just in sound quality, but the feel that it provides in the game, like the Shinra music theme, the battle music, the opening sequence, everything was top fucking notch. So sound perfect. I can't wait to see what they do with some of my favorite tracks, such as Anxious Heart and Can You Hear the Cry of the Planet, songs like that, because everything else was up to this point, and there wasn't that many tracks in this demo version, was great. The third thing I'll talk about, gameplay. Now, the gameplay was the one thing that at first took me some time to get used to. The control scheme's a bit wonky, to me anyway. And especially when you're going into the mindset of Final Fantasy VII, having played the original, 10 million times, you expect buttons to be a certain way, and they're obviously not, which is fine. Once I got used to the combat, though, once I got used to how things work, how to use your ATB and how to combo attacks and use the stagger mechanic, and to, and then to actually use commands intertwined in between the actual switching between characters and hitting the enemy yourself. It was absolutely a lot of fun, and I'm very interested to see how much deeper the combat and the gameplay can go. The movement was great. Again, that ties in with the great visuals. Everything was really great, but it did take some time to get used to the new aspects of that game. The next thing I want to talk about, and this is one of the best things about it. They said initially when they announced the Final Fantasy VII Remake that there was a lot of stuff they wanted to do with the original game that they just couldn't do, parts of the story they just couldn't tell, or even wasn't a good avenue to tell said story. While in this game, in the remake, man, I mean, you know going in, if you play the original, big spoilers, that Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge, the 3 Avalanche characters, are going to die, and that they're, not too far into the game, they die, and you don't really feel a huge sense of loss in the original game, because their characters couldn't be developed that much in the original game. Not as much as, not enough to make you care that much when they die. But in this, you can see that Square has added huge personalities and backstories and to characters that are throwaway characters in the original game. And the fact that the voice acting is superb and on point on every character, that the little details when you talk to them individually or you eavesdrop on their conversations is great. I mean, the funny banter in the elevator between Cloud and Barrett, and it's staying true to what I felt those characters were like back on the original version of the game. But now I can see this avenue where they can give us so much more detail and so much more heartfelt character development, which is the core of Final Fantasy VII and most Final Fantasy and RPG games in general. Are the characters good? Is the story good? And even back on the original PlayStation, when Cloud has his moments where he, phases back and has a flashback, there's only so much they could do with the graphics and what they had on the original PlayStation to, portray what was going on with him. While in this game, even like the first moment when you set the bomb and you can see a little feather, Cloud sees a little feather like Sephiroth's wing, and then it disappears, and obviously Barrett didn't see it. There's all these little things they can do cinematically with the game now that they couldn't do in the original, and it makes the story so much richer. It's fucking fantastic. And the fact that they're actually making some small tweaks to the story that, in my opinion, so far, I mean, again, it's just a demo, but in my opinion, make the story better. I.e., the bomb you plant in the Avalanche mission didn't actually, again, spoilers again, didn't actually do enough damage to blow up the reactor. And so you see President Shinra turn the guns on the reactor and blow it up himself. Why? So that it can blow up and then he can blame Avalanche, which he did blame Avalanche for everything while he was behind a lot of crooked shit in the original game. But in the original game, the bomb did do enough damage, and it wasn't until later and a couple dialogue options where you found out that in a different story later on with Sector 7 and the plate that you didn't find out that Shinra was behind a lot of the stuff, and they let Avalanche terrorize everybody. In this, they're actively helping and sabotaging their own stuff, which creates a much more in-depth story and a lot more detail, and I'm really excited to see where they go with the minor details that they couldn't really push through in the original version, and in this version they already are. This is just the demo, and they're already showing us some amazing shit with their storytelling and the subtle nuances that just couldn't exist in the original game. Now, after I've gotten those subjects out of the way, I am concerned a little bit about one big thing, and that's how long are we going to have to wait after we beat the first game, the first installment of the 7 Remake, before we get the second? Will it be 6 months? Will it be 8 months? Will it be a year? I'm guessing on a year. How compatible will the versions from PS4 to PS5 be? Things like that. So those are some big questions I'm really interested in, because, man, even if the first... I imagine each section is going to end kind of in the story where each disc ended in the original game. So even if we got like 40 hours of gameplay, 50 hours of gameplay out of the first installment, and there's going to be lots of new shit to find, how hard is it going to be to wait for that next installment? Because I'm telling you, if you haven't played the 7 demo, go download it right now. It's fucking amazing. But anyway, guys, that's my review of the Final Fantasy VII demo. I think it's fantastic. It's more than I could have hoped for, and which is great, you know, living in a world right now where 90% of the games that get released are fucking disappointments and overhyped and bullshit and broken, buggy. This does not fit that bill. This is absolutely fantastic. So check it out if you haven't yet. Also, guys, keep in mind, you see now my Twitch and my Twitter are on the screen. Feel free to hit me up there, talk to me. And also keep in mind that I am now, if you haven't noticed already, I've been doing podcasts on my YouTube channel called they're Discuss and Deduce and Discuss with Romagus and Raziel and Romagus. And we are bringing on guests, and we mostly talk about the MMORPG genre, and each episode is roughly an hour to an hour and a half long. So if you're interested in something, you know, material to listen to, check it out on my channel. It'll also probably be one of the end links here on the page as well. So anyway, guys, sorry to ramble on. This has been Raziel, and as always, my friends, keep it real.